I'm Ava Mitchell, 30 years old. 4 years ago, I walked away from a six-figure job as a marketing director at a tech startup in Austin. The kind of job where stock options could have let me retire early. I told myself I'd be gone for just a few months. Mom had a massive stroke, Dad was falling apart, and someone needed to hold the house together. Just until she recovers, I said. That was 4 years ago. Yesterday they told me I wasn't welcome anymore. It's a gray Tuesday afternoon. Rain spits against the windshield as I pull into the driveway. The trunk is full of things that keep my mother alive. Her metaprolol, her blood thinner, her pain meds. A new walker to replace the one that broke this morning. My head aches, but the rhythm of care has become muscle memory by now. Drive, pick up, deliver, repeat. Then I see them. 3 suitcases sitting on the porch, soaked through. Clothes spilling out like the remains of a storm. My Northwestern hoodie, the blazer I wore to my last real job interview, underwear clinging to the concrete like discarded proof of existence. For a second, my brain can't connect the dots. My foot stays frozen on the brake. I step out, rain drumming on my shoulders. The air smells like wet asphalt and betrayal. I run to the door, jam my key into the lock. It doesn't turn. New lock. I knock. Then pound. Dad. Mom. The door opens. Dad stands there. The porch light cuts across his face, hard and flat like stone. What's going on? I manage. Why are my things? We don't need you anymore, Ava. His voice doesn't shake. It's calm, practiced, like he's rehearsed the line in his head a dozen times. For a moment, I think I've misheard. What are you talking about? Your sister's moving back, he says simply. She'll be taking care of your mother now. And then I see her. Brooke, 27, yoga pants, California glow, a serenity she's trademarked on social media. She stands just behind him, arms folded, a picture of poised compassion. And on her wrist gleams Grandma's charm bracelet. The bracelet Grandma gave me the day Mom came home from the hospital. Each charm a family milestone, the little silver house, Dad's graduation cap, the tiny baby booty for my birth. I gave it to Mom 2 years ago to keep safe. Now it's on Brooke's wrist, catching the light like a trophy. Inside, the TV hums softly, the Great British Baking Show. And there it is. Laughter. Mom's laugh. Light. Musical. Effortless. A sound I haven't heard once in 4 years of caregiving, seizures, or 3 a.m. ambulance rides. The sound hits me harder than the rain. I stand there, drenched, watching through the doorway. The home I've scrubbed, repaired, and kept running for years, and realize I've been erased from it. Brooke's eyes meet mine. There's no guilt there. Only calm ownership, like a queen reclaiming what was always hers. Dad doesn't move to help me, doesn't even flinch. In that still moment, the thunder doesn't come from the sky. It's inside me. A rolling, silent quake of disbelief turning into something sharper. I look at the bracelet, at my sister, at the man who raised me, standing between us. And I know this isn't replacement. It's a takeover. Brooke tilts her head slightly, like she's pitying me. Then softly, "You should have seen this coming." The rain comes harder now, pelting against the porch roof. I feel every drop like a slap. I take a step back, my shoes sinking into puddles that mirror the house lights. For a second, I think of the thousands of little moments, the nights I fed Mom soup, the bills I paid from my savings, the times I told work I couldn't take a new position because family needed me. The word family tastes like rust in my mouth. Inside, Brooke's voice floats out. "Mom, guess what? I made your favorite soup tonight." Laughter again. A sound that once belonged to me, now gifted to someone else. I turn and walk down the driveway, leaving the suitcases behind. Rain drips from my hair, into my eyes. down my neck. The cold is nothing compared to the numbness inside. By the time I reach the car, my hands have stopped trembling. I stand by the door, gripping the handle, watching the light through the windows blur in the rain, and then something inside me snaps into clarity. When something breaks, you have two choices: collapse or rebuild. I've done enough collapsing for a lifetime. This time, I'll rebuild, but not the way they expect. I drive away from the house slowly, the headlights slicing through the rain. The rearview mirror shows three blurred shapes on the porch: my suitcases, my family, and everything I gave up. By the end of the street, I'm no longer crying. I'm calculating. Every story I've ever marketed, every narrative I've spun for a company, every campaign I built from a single emotion. I can see the pattern now: how to weaponize an image, how to tell a story that controls the world's sympathy. And if Brooke wants to live by stories, I'll give her one she'll never recover from. The next morning, the rain has stopped. I sit in my car outside a small cafe, the one I used to escape to when caregiving felt too heavy. The smell of burnt espresso hits me as I scroll through Brooke's Instagram. Every photo, every caption is perfectly staged. My mother's courage inspires me every day. Family is healing. Grateful for the journey. Thousands of comments flood beneath them. Hearts, flowers, prayers. I know now that she's been building this for months. The narrative of the perfect daughter. She probably sold it to Dad too. Every like she gets is another nail in my coffin. But she doesn't realize yet. She's not the only one who understands storytelling. I open a blank document on my laptop. Title: Evidence Log. It feels clinical, precise, safe. In marketing, you learn how perception becomes reality. You learn how to turn emotion into currency. But you also learn the opposite: how to take apart a brand until only the rot shows. That's what Brooke is now, a brand, and I know exactly how to unmake one. I sip my coffee, fingers poised above the keyboard. It's time to gather receipts. That night, back in my rented apartment, I start pulling threads. Old texts, bank records, photos. I build a timeline of caregiving, 4 years of my life, condensed into data. Then I compare it with her social media uploads. Something clicks. Every heartwarming post about Mom coincides with a refill of sedatives. Every time Brooke showed up with flowers and filmed it, Mom's prescription history spiked. The correlation is too clean to be coincidence. I dig deeper. Pharmacy receipts, online delivery logs, timestamps. My head buzzes as the pattern solidifies. Every act of love she broadcast came at the cost of my mother's clarity. And for the first time in months, I feel awake. I open another tab and search. Lorazepam side effects, cognitive impairment, emotional dullness, dependency. It's all there. Brooke wasn't helping Mom. She was tranquilizing her. Not for comfort, for content. By the time the clock hits midnight, my living room looks like a crime scene. Papers scattered, laptop glowing in the dark. I sit there, the hum of the fridge in the background, heart steady. Tomorrow, I'll confirm what I already know. And then I'll start setting the trap. The morning after I found my life on the porch, I realized something. I didn't lose a home. I lost a narrative I no longer controlled. And narratives can be reclaimed. I park in front of a small legal aid office wedged between a pawn shop and a tax service. A handwritten sign taped to the glass door reads, "Walk-ins welcome, consultation, $0 for first 30 minutes. Inside, the fluorescent lights hum. A woman in her late 30s looks up from her desk. Her name tag says, Maria Rodriguez, attorney at law. "You're early," she says, smiling, pushing her glasses up the bridge of her nose. "Most people come in after the lawsuit hits." I tell her everything, not the emotional parts, just the structure. Caregiving duties, Financial transfers, the sudden lock change, the social media spin. Maria listens, taking notes with a kind of detached precision that feels comforting. When I finish, she leans back. Do you have proof you were your mother's primary caregiver? Yes. Medical records list me as contact. I kept receipts, medications, therapy equipment, home expenses. And witnesses? My mom's physical therapist, her doctor, maybe a few neighbors. Good. Because what you're describing, Ava, borders on elder exploitation and coercion. If your sister manipulated your parents into transferring property or assets, that's actionable. Actionable, I repeat, liking the word. It sounds surgical, controlled. Maria continues. You'll need a timeline, digital evidence, and proof of undue influence. Don't confront them yet. Let them underestimate you. She slides a business card across the desk. When you're ready, call me. But if you do this, Ava, do it cleanly. No emotion. No outbursts. Make them reveal themselves. I nod. That, I can do. That night, I drive to a motel off the interstate. The carpet smells like mildew. The walls hum with the sound of the air conditioner fighting a losing battle. I set up my laptop on the tiny desk, connect to spotty Wi-Fi, and start building my war map. Folder 1, Finances. Folder 2, Medical Records. Folder 3, Social Media, Brooke. Each file becomes a window into the slow betrayal I hadn't seen coming. Brooke's Instagram is a shrine of performative virtue. Filtered light, teacups, inspirational captions. Healing isn't linear. Let go of what doesn't serve you. Gratitude transforms pain into purpose. Every post is time-stamped. Every timestamp matches a point when Mom's medications were refilled, her lucidity dimmed, and Brooke's following count grew. The story she's telling isn't about care, it's about conquest. Scrolling further, I find something worse. A photo of Mom sitting upright, smiling faintly, captioned, 2 months home and thriving. The date matches the week Brooke returned, before they changed the locks. So Brooke had been back for weeks, maybe months, long enough to whisper her version of me into their ears, long enough to make them believe it. 2 days later, a message pings on my phone. Unknown number. If you're looking for a fight, you'll lose. Just walk away. B. I stare at the screen. She's baiting me, hoping for a reaction she can screenshot. Instead, I screenshot her. Then I add it to evidence log. The next step is harder. Getting information from inside without stepping foot in that house. That's where Aunt Susan comes in. Dad's sister. Retired nurse. Allergic to drama, but allergic to injustice even more. When I call, she answers on the first ring. Ava, honey, I was waiting for your call. I saw your mother yesterday. Something felt off. How so? She looked uncomfortable. And your sister, well, she answered the door like a bodyguard. She was wearing a bracelet I swear I've seen on you. My chest tightens. Grandma's charm bracelet. That's the one. And Ava. There were papers on the kitchen table. I only saw them for a second, but they looked like loan forms. Brooke's name was on them. I close my eyes. Mortgage papers? Possibly, or a line of credit. I couldn't tell. It clicks like a lock turning. Brooke's not just rewriting the family story. She's monetizing it. That night, I pull Brooke's name through every public record database I can access. Within an hour, the cracks appear. 3 defaulted credit cards. 1 eviction notice from her Los Angeles apartment. A civil judgment. $8,000 for breach of lease. Debt. Desperation. Motive. She didn't come home for redemption. She came home for liquidity. And she used me, the controlling, selfish sister, as her currency. By the 3rd night, I have enough data to feel the weight of a case forming. But Maria was right. I need restraint. Revenge isn't about rage, it's about rhythm. So I start crafting the story, my version, the truth, sharpened into strategy. It begins with perception. For 4 years, everyone saw me as the dutiful daughter. Then, overnight, I became the villain. That pivot doesn't happen naturally. It needs a narrative architect. Brooke is good, but I'm better. Because she plays with emotion, and I play with evidence. I start small. An email to our family group thread. The one they think I no longer check. Subject line: clarification. The body is simple, factual, no anger. To those who may have heard rumors about me, I want to clarify. I haven't taken a cent from my parents. I have receipts and bank records to prove every caregiving expense. I hope we can all prioritize truth over assumptions. No accusation, just calm professionalism, the kind that makes the reader question themselves. Within minutes, Brooke replies privately, "Wow, Ava, playing the victim already? Maybe you should focus on therapy instead of email campaigns?" Perfect. Another receipt. The next day, I meet Maria again. She scans my files, nodding. "This is good. You're documenting patterns of manipulation. If we take this to court, it'll hold. But before that, I think you need one meeting. Face to face. You, your parents, Brooke, and a witness. Why? To make her expose herself. She'll overplay her confidence. They always do. Where? Neutral ground. Somewhere public enough that she'll keep her temper in check, but private enough for real conversation. I'll sit in. Silent. I hesitate. The idea of seeing them again makes my stomach twist. Maria studies my face. You want closure, Ava? But more than that, you want control. This meeting gives you both. That night, I type out an email to my parents. The words come steady, cold. Subject: family meeting request. Dear Mom and Dad, I understand that you believe I took advantage of the family. I would like the opportunity to address these concerns directly. I propose a meeting. Just us, Brooke, and Aunt Susan, as a neutral witness. If we cannot resolve this privately, I will be forced to pursue legal options to recover losses and defend my name. I would rather not take that route. Please confirm within 48 hours. Ava. Before I hit send, I imagine their reactions. Dad's disapproval, Mom's confusion, Brooke's smirk. Then I press the button anyway. It's time to stop being the caretaker. It's time to become the reckoning. 2 days later, the reply arrives. Short, cold, from Dad's account. Sunday, 2 p.m., Aunt Susan's house. Perfect. The morning of the meeting, I dress with deliberate simplicity. Gray sweater, dark jeans, no makeup except for a touch of lip balm. Professional, unthreatening, unreadable. Maria meets me outside the house. "Remember?" she says quietly. "Your power is silence. Let her talk herself into a corner." I nod. Got it. Inside, Aunt Susan has arranged the living room like a tribunal. Chairs in a circle, coffee table cleared except for a notepad. My parents sit on the couch, close together. Brooke sits beside them, legs crossed, posture perfect, eyes gleaming with false empathy. I take my seat opposite. The air hums with tension. Dad starts first. "Ava, we're here because we want peace." Peace. The word tastes like mockery. Mom's voice wavers. "Honey, I don't understand why you're doing this. We're a family. Families don't threaten each other with lawyers." I keep my expression calm. Families also don't lock each other out of their homes. Brooke's tone is syrup sweet. "Let's not make this hostile. We all want healing." Healing, her favorite weapon. Aunt Susan clears her throat. "Why don't we let Ava explain her perspective first?" I fold my hands. My perspective is simple. For 4 years, I managed Mom's care. Financially, medically, and emotionally. I have documentation of every expense. Recently, without warning, I was removed from the household and accused of exploitation. I'd like to understand why. Brooke leans forward. Because you were controlling Ava. You made Mom feel dependent. You used her illness to feel important. Her voice trembles in just the right places. Trained weakness. I stay quiet, watching the show. Dad adds, "You handled everything, but you stopped letting your mother make choices. That's not care, that's control." They've rehearsed. Brooke fed them their lines. And still, I say nothing. Maria's voice whispers in my memory. Silence forces the liar to fill it. So I let them talk. Let the rope unspool. Mom says softly, "Your sister helped me see that I don't need to feel guilty anymore. You did so much, Ava, but it's time for me to be free." There it is. Brooke's masterpiece, the illusion of liberation. For a second, grief rises in my throat like acid. But I swallow it down. Because grief is useless now. Strategy isn't. I glance at Aunt Susan. She gives me the smallest nod. It's time to start pulling threads. I look at my sister. Calm, glowing, rehearsed. The room bends around her confidence. Brooke has always known how to control the tempo. She talks in soft cadences, performs empathy like an art. But today, I control the silence, and silence unnerves performers. I glance briefly at the notepad on the coffee table. Aunt Susan's pen is ready. Maria's recorder light blinks faintly from her bag. I take a breath. Brooke, you said I was controlling. Can you explain what you mean by that? Her eyes flick toward Dad before she answers. You managed everything. Mom's medications, her therapy schedule, her diet. You didn't let her breathe. You made her illness about you. I nod slowly. So, my mistake was being present? Her lips tighten. You kept her dependent. That's emotional manipulation. The word lands like a slap. I don't flinch. Emotional manipulation, that's interesting. Because I remember you posting online about how healing begins when we let go of guilt. You said that 2 months ago, right? Brooke blinks. What does that have to do with... I just thought it was fascinating timing, I say, my tone mild. Since that post went up the same day Mom's prescription refills tripled. Dad frowns. What are you implying? I reach into my folder, slide a single sheet of paper across the table, a printout of the pharmacy records. Mom's medication history. I tracked it across 12 months. Every spike in her dosage matched one of Brooke's visits. Brooke laughs. Too high, too fast. That's absurd. You're trying to turn kindness into a conspiracy. Maria's voice cuts in, quiet and measured. These records are from the pharmacy, verified under the family account. We can subpoena additional proof if needed. Brooke's laugh dies. I continue, voice steady. You came home with the narrative of the savior daughter. The world saw you feeding Mom soup, brushing her hair, telling her how loved she was. But you weren't feeding her love, were you, Brooke? You were feeding her lorazepam. Mom's eyes widen. Lorazepam? That's not one of my medications. No, I say gently. It's not. Brooke's posture shifts, just slightly. The subtle panic of a mask cracking. Dad glares at me. You're twisting things. Brooke would never... She would, Aunt Susan says suddenly, voice shaking. I saw the bottle myself. It had no label. Brooke turns on her. You're misremembering, Aunt Susan. You always misremember. But the tone is wrong. Too sharp. Too defensive. And that's when I see it. The first fracture in her armor. I slide another photo onto the table. A screenshot from one of Brooke's Instagram stories. She's smiling, holding Mom's hand. In the corner of the frame, barely visible, a small orange pill bottle sits beside a cup of tea. Recognize this? I ask. She hesitates, then shrugs. It's probably one of Mom's supplements. You know she takes vitamins. Strange, I murmur, because I had that frame enhanced. The label says lorazepam 1 mg. And the prescription name? I pause, letting the room hold its breath. Brooke Mitchell. The silence detonates like thunder. Dad's mouth opens, then closes. Mom's trembling hand grips the edge of the couch. Aunt Susan stares at the photo as if she's reading an autopsy report. Brooke tries to laugh again, but her voice cracks. You can't prove I gave her any of it. I don't need to, I say softly. The hair sample I submitted last week already did. The lab confirmed the presence of lorazepam in Mom's system. The exact dosage matches the prescription you filled. Her face drains of color. Maria leans forward, her tone clinical. At this point, the evidence suggests sustained administration without medical authorization. That qualifies as elder abuse and chemical restraint under Georgia state law. The words hang heavy. Elder abuse. Dad's hand grips his knee, knuckles white. Brooke, is this true? Brooke stammers. She was anxious. I just wanted her calm. Ava always made her so nervous, hovering like a nurse. I was helping? Her voice cracks completely on the last word. Mom's whisper slices through the chaos. You drugged me? Brooke turns toward her, tears rising. No, Mom, please, it wasn't like that. Mom recoils. It's subtle. Just a shift backward on the couch, but it breaks something irreversible in the air. For the first time, Brooke realizes she's lost the audience. She looks at me, eyes blazing. You did this. You've been plotting. You're right, I interrupt. My tone is ice. I have. I lean forward, every word deliberate. 4 years, Brooke. 4 years of caregiving. I kept receipts for everything. Groceries, prescriptions, therapy bills, even the incontinence pads. Because deep down, I knew one day I'd have to protect myself from family. War. Brooke's lip trembles, but the fury is rising again, the feral instinct of someone who's losing control. You think this makes you better than me? She spits. You've always needed to be the martyr, the perfect daughter. You can't stand that people love me more. There it is. The truth. Ugly and raw. I don't want them to love me, I say quietly. I just want them to see. I reach for my laptop bag, pull out a tablet, and open a folder labeled Mom's Memory. It's a compilation. Short clips from home cameras, medical logs, dated messages. I hand the tablet to Mom. Watch this. She hesitates, then presses play. The first clip. Me kneeling beside her bed, coaxing her to eat soup. She's weak, but smiling. I look exhausted. The timestamp reads April 2020. The next, Brooke filming herself holding Mom's hand, whispering, "You're safe now that I'm here." Her free hand, the one off camera, slides a pill into the tea. Mom's breath hitches. The next clip freezes on that frame. The sound of rain begins outside, faint but growing. Nobody speaks. Brooke lunges forward. Delete that. You had no right. Maria's voice is steel. Sit down, Ms. Mitchell. Brooke's hands tremble, then she collapses back into the chair. You don't understand, she whispers. I was fixing things. I was building something better. Our family needed peace. Her justification lands like a ghost of reason, hollow, haunting. Dad rubs his forehead. Peace isn't something you force with pills, Brooke. Mom's tears fall silently. You made me forget my children. That line shatters whatever composure remains. Brooke sobs openly now, a sound too loud for this quiet living room. I stand slowly. My voice doesn't rise. It doesn't need to. This isn't revenge, I say. This is correction. I gather the papers, slide them back into my folder. Maria will forward copies of everything to law enforcement. But I wanted you all to hear it first. From me. Mom looks up at me, her expression torn between sorrow and recognition. "Ava," she whispers, "I remember the soup. It's enough." I nod once, then turn toward the door. Brooke calls after me, voice breaking. "Ava, wait." I pause in the doorway but don't look back. "You took everything from me, Brooke. The house, the trust, even Mom's laugh. But the one thing you forgot is that truth doesn't need followers. It only needs light." I step out into the rain. Behind me, the house erupts. Voices, movement, chaos. But the sound fades as I walk toward my car. Raindrops hit my skin, cool and cleansing. For the first time in years, I'm not trembling. The war is over. The reckoning has begun. The next morning, the rain has stopped. The air outside smells like wet earth and electricity, the kind of calm that follows destruction. I sit in my car outside Maria's office, engine idling. My hands don't shake anymore. The folder on the passenger seat feels lighter now, though nothing inside it has changed. When Maria steps out, she gives me a look that says, "We did it." "The DA's office has the file," she says. "They're reviewing the evidence this week. They'll likely open an investigation under elder abuse statutes." I nod. The words don't thrill me. They just settle into place like the last puzzle piece. "What happens to Brooke?" I ask. "If she cooperates, maybe probation. If not..." Maria shrugs. "She'll face charges. Either way, her influencer career's done. Once the report's public, she won't recover from the optics." The irony almost makes me laugh. Brooke, undone by the same audience she cultivated. Maria adds softly, "You handled this with restraint, Ava. Most people would have lashed out. You let the truth do the work." "That's the only kind of revenge worth having," I say. "The kind you don't have to touch." A week later, the house I once called home looks smaller from the street. The porch is empty now. No suitcases, no laughter spilling through open windows. Mom lives temporarily at a memory care facility a few miles away. I visit every few days. The first time she saw me there, she hesitated, then smiled faintly. "You came back," she said. "I never left," I told her. We sit by the garden sometimes, under the magnolia trees. She doesn't remember everything. Maybe she never will. But when she laughs, it's her laugh. Not the hollow echo Brooke recorded, but real, messy, alive. That's enough. Brooke, on the other hand, disappears from the internet almost overnight. Her accounts vanish, sponsorships cut ties, and gossip sites buzz with headlines. "Wellness influencer accused of drugging mother for content." From healing guru to household villain. I don't read all of them. I don't need to. The story has already taken a life of its own, self-correcting, just like I knew it would. Dad calls once. His voice is tired. "Ava, I don't know what to say." "Then don't," I reply quietly. "Just take care of Mom." He exhales, a sound like surrender. "I should have seen it. You couldn't. You were too close to the story." When we hang up, I feel no victory, only relief. For the first time in years, the weight isn't mine anymore. 2 months pass. I'm back in Atlanta. Not the suburb I grew up in, but the city itself. New apartment, high windows, quiet mornings. I've started consulting again, part-time for a firm that works with ethical marketing. It feels strange at first, selling truth for a living. But maybe that's what healing is. Repurposing the skills that once broke you. One afternoon, Maria emails me a short update, case resolved. Brooke accepted a plea deal. Public apology, probation, and mandatory rehabilitation. Mom's care fund reinstated. You retain joint oversight. I stare at the message for a long time, then close the laptop. No celebration, just stillness. That night, I drive to the coast. 2 hours of empty highway, headlights slicing through the dark. At the overlook, I park facing the ocean. The wind smells like salt and distance. In the glove compartment, I find something I almost forgot. Grandma's charm bracelet. The police had returned it after evidence review. I turn it in my hands. The little silver house, the graduation cap, the baby booty. Symbols of a family that once meant safety. I clasp it around my wrist. For the first time, it feels right. The moon glints off the metal. The tide rolls in, whispering over the rocks like applause too soft to hear. Sometimes I think about Brooke, not with anger, but with curiosity. What story does she tell herself now? That she was misunderstood? That I destroyed her out of jealousy? Maybe it doesn't matter. The thing about storytellers like us is that we live or die by the narratives we create. Hers was built on illusion. Mine was built on proof. And proof always wins. I drive back as dawn breaks, sunlight bleeding into the horizon. The radio hums softly, some old song about forgiveness. For once, I don't analyze the lyrics. I just let them fill the silence. When I pull into my apartment lot, my phone buzzes. A message from Maria. Mom's facility reports good progress. She's remembering more stable patterns. She asked if you'd bring soup next visit. I smile. Soup. The one constant in a story that's changed too many times. As I step inside, I catch my reflection in the hallway mirror, tired, older, but lighter. I whisper to it, half a confession, half a vow. This time, I rebuild for me. Outside, the world keeps turning, and somewhere far away, a different house sits quiet in the aftermath of its own storm.